anything, but everyone who's sane knows any time's the time to fall in love. Hearts are eager in the spring, but love, as every sway knows, is not dependent on the moon above. Cupid is not swayed by the weather. What's he care, dear, if it rains? Every plan we make together may not work out, still love remains. Set the date, don't hesitate, but just make up your mind, dear. Now's the time to fall in love with me.
And that was Phil Spitolny and his orchestra. I was looking for a date on that. It was roughly around 1928, 29 there, and it was any time's the time to fall in love. It says it's from the Paramount picture, Paramount's on Parade, which Matt would be able to tell us what year that came out real easy. Matt, what was that? 1930, so I was a little bit off. So, yeah, Spitolny recorded on Edison. We've got some Edisons in the station for Phil Spitolny. That is a mouthful. We've got some Hit of the Weeks, and this is on Victor. Anyway, I thought it was just a charming recording. I wanted to get it in there somewhere in the recording, in the broadcast tonight, so we made that the opening song for our 6th and final hour of the 14th annual Radio Dismuke New Year's Eve broadcast. 6-hour broadcast. I'm starting to not speak clearly because it's a long broadcast to record. So we have, I believe, up next in our rotation is Connor. And if you're just joining us at the 6th hour, it's going to be very late in the United States, but this broadcast will air in continuous rotation throughout New Year's Day. So if you've missed any portion of it so far, unless you're catching us on the last go-round, just stick around and it'll keep spinning around. So, Connor, what have you up for us?
Well, this is a Texas jazz band.
Oh, I'm sorry, Connor. Then it helps if I put your mic up there. There we go.
This is a Texas jazz band. Joe Kennedy and his rhythm orchestra, recorded in San Antonio, Texas in 1935. A really stomping rendition of the Song of a Wanderer.
Okay. Yeah, he had some good records.
Yes.
And a lot of the stuff, some of the stuff in the station, there's a certain element of Western swing in some of these recordings.
Definitely.
I mean, he wasn't a Western swing band, but he had, you could see the influence of that style on there, so it's very, I like those. I'm very curious to hear this. Let me make sure that this is more of a, what year was this?
1935.
All right, so we got the equalization a little bit better here for that. So here we go. Let's give that a spin. like that band. And you know what's interesting is, well, I'm sorry for everybody out there who probably blasted you out completely, because I think that was the loudest recorded song we've had this evening in terms of, you know, what the studio settings. They recorded that very loud. So all of a sudden when I put it on, and it's one of the problems when you're playing vintage material on a program like this, is every record was done at a slightly different volume level, and this one was quite a bit higher, and then you get one that's really low, and you have to crank the volume up here, and if you don't set it on the next one, you blast everybody out. So
that recording too was a field recording. That was, that was not a studio. That was not a studio recording, was it? It was recorded like in a hotel. Yeah. And so that would probably be like a single microphone recording, and it gave it more of a live feel.
They did. They used in San Antonio, I know the Bluebonnet Hotel was used for that. There was a Texas hotel apparently, which I've never been able to. I've read stuff about a Texas hotel, but never able to find material which building it was or whatever happened to it in San Antonio.
Speaking of San Antonio, I'm deciding. Usually, I try to be original, but I'm just going to be a copycat tonight because I've got another 1935 Bluebird from a band recorded in San Antonio. So I thought, why not follow up with Connor and have another different band that recorded in San Antonio in 1935 through the 38, I believe. It's Boots and His Buddies.
Okay.
And the song is an older song, I Love You Truly, but they revived it for this swing rendition. So I hope you enjoy it.
Yeah, it sounds cool. About Connor's being the loudest of the evening, because that was even recorded a louder session than Connor's. So I guess there was something about the field recording equipment or the people in San Antonio that just pumped the volume up when they were recording these. But that was nice too. Yeah, these territory groups were just really cool. So Leslie's got something here. This is a Victor scroll. Which one is this?
This is Ted Weems.
Oh, got Ted Weems here. Okay.
Yeah, it is My Baby Just Cares for Me.
And Ted Weems spent his final years here in Dallas. He had a place not far from, I think, Love Field, and it was the building still stands. It's an apartment building, and Eddie knew where that was. He spent his final years here. So, yep. And Eddie knew, actually, Eddie was friends for a long time with Ted Weems Jr. Okay. He was part of the car collecting thing, so Eddie was a good friend with Ted Weems Jr., who kept the band going for some years afterwards. So, yeah. So, anyhow, let's get that going.
My baby don't care for clothes. My baby just cares for me. My baby don't care for silks and laces. My baby don't care for high-toned places. My baby don't care for rings or other expensive things. She's sensible as can be. My baby don't care who knows. My baby just cares for me. My baby don't care who knows it. My baby just cares for me.
And that was Ted Weems and his orchestra. And I believe I'm up next in the rotation. So I've got one from, I didn't get the year here there, but this is interesting. This is a famous lady from the movies, kind of risque for the time, very famous. I found this the other day. Thought it'd be kind of cool to include in the broadcast. So this is Mae West. And so she actually made the record. This is actually a British Brunswick. So I don't know if it was ever. I'm assuming it was released in the United States. It says Warner Brunswick Ltd. Made in England. So I'm thinking this is back. It's from the movie I'm No Angel. So I found a new way to go to town, and the flip side is I'm No Angel.
That would be 1933.
Yeah. So that was about the time when Brunswick owned this. I mean, Warner owned Brunswick, so I'm guessing if it was a Brunswick. I don't know if she was on Warner Pictures. I don't know.
She was in Paramount Pictures.
Oh.
Warner Brunswick had a subsidiary in England, so even though ARC controlled Brunswick by 1933, I guess they somehow had something going on there.
Okay. Somehow I don't know why your mic's not picking up here. We've been having mic issues all night. But anyway, I'm going to put that on, and you said 33? We'll go about here on that. So it was hard for me to pick which side, so I think I'd go the B side here. I found a new way to go to town. This is from the film I'm No Angel. This is Mae West. So here we go. It's an interesting recording. Both sides are good, but we'll play this one.
Sugar daddy with plenty sweets for me. Well, now I've got a regular guy who loves me constantly. Give me my bracelets and load me down. I found a new way to go to town. I always love to be in bright lights. My streets are paved with gold. I found myself a new kind of man. He's mine to have and hold. I'm in my glory when he's around. Taught me a new way to go to town. I'm high, I'm low. Takes a good man to make me. No man can shake me until I let him go. A game of romance with high cards in my hand, but I've been trumped by an ace of hearts. That feeling's oh so grand. Bring me my fine furs and fancy gowns. I found a new way to go to town. Found a new way to go to town.
And so there was Mae West. I found a new way to go to town, a song she performed in the film I'm No Angel, and you know, at least by reputation, she was no angel. That was her trademark. That was her shtick. That was her claim to fame, not being an angel. So I believe up next in our rotation is Eric. So Eric's picking out a record. And it looks like another Brunswick. Is this acoustic?
This is electric.
Okay, cool.
And actually we have two records here that I have to present.
Oh, we're starting the Snodgrass one first?
We are starting the Snodgrass Masterpiece first.
Oh, and I need to get your mic up. Oopsie. Here we go. Here we go, having fun with the microphones again. Okay, here we go.
This recording was a Brunswick label electric record made in 1927. It's a piano solo. We will not hear the entire record. What's interesting about this record is that it has, for the music is preceded by an air check, and it does give you a rare glimpse into what radio actually sounded like in 1927. Because at that time there was no acetates, there was very little way that you could really capture the sound of a radio broadcast, short of having a special record that was made for that purpose, and that hardly ever happened. So this is basically a piano solo that's done by a pianist by the name of Harry Snodgrass, the Prisoner's Song, but it is preceded by J.M. Witten announcing. Let's see what that sounds like.
Harry M. Snodgrass, who gained fame as King of the Ivories while broadcasting from WOS, Jefferson City, Missouri, will play the Prisoner's Song.
And then we're bringing the mics back up here. So Eric's going to flip the other side over because there's another announcement on the other side of a similar nature, so we'll do that right now.
And now Harry will offer his marimba arrangement on Land of My Sunset Dreams.
So we made the executive decision not to play the full piano side there. The second one's kind of nice, but they were not the records themselves. The musically it wasn't particularly interesting, at least to any of us here. But we thought the announcements were kind of cool on that, so we wanted to include that, but we didn't want to, given that we have limited time, wanted to move on to other records for the music. So. What is the other recording you got here? What year is that from?
Well, yes, but before we move on to the next recording, one of the reasons it's important to hear an obscure air check like that is so...
Oh, I get your mic on. Here we go.
Okay, there you go. One of the reasons it's good to hear an obscure air check like that is that it helps us understand what radio actually sounded like in the mid to late 20s. And when we wonder why large companies like the Victor Talking Machine radio did not take radio particularly seriously at first, you can sort of understand, because that's what radio sounded like back then. So it does help give kind of a historical perspective in that respect. Radio did not sound that way all that long. And, of course, it in the late 20s became a huge force to be reckoned with. But anyway, a bit of history. Moving right along, I have a recording here that's on the Regal label. It's the Rose Room Orchestra, which I must admit I've never heard of, but this is a fine rendition of an early Irving Berlin song that it's called Waitin' at the End of the Road. And this is a well-produced record that makes great listening.
I can't go wrong, I must go right. I'll find my way, 'cause a guiding light will be shining at the end of the road. There may be thorns in my path, but I'll wear a smile, 'cause in a little while my path will be roses. The rain may fall from up above, but I won't stop, 'cause the ones I love will be waiting at the end of the road.
So I did a little bit of, oh my goodness, no, not the microphone. So I did a bit of research while we were playing that. So it was Tom Gott and his Rose Room Orchestra, and I found something on the line here. I guess he was Tom Gott was a trumpet player, top New York session. He toured Europe with Gabby Desleys and during World War I, but he made many recordings with Sam Lennon, Ben Sullivan, Harry Reeser, studio bands, some of the other band ensembles, Bailey's Lucky Seven, Broadway Bellhops, Joe Candulo, Roger Wolf Kahn, Vincent Lopez. So he was a sideman that got around. He was with the Paul Whiteman Orchestra from July 1921 to August 1923. And anyway, he fronted his own bands in the late 20s and early 30s, and I found apparently he recorded for Crown in 1931 and had a recording of I Can't Write the Words, which is a song I really like, so that'd be a cool recording. Looks like there's a YouTube recording of that out there. So I guess that I have some other records by on that label, Regal, by the Rose Room Orchestra. I think they're in the station, if I'm not mistaken. So he made some other ones on that, but they're good. Yeah. So anyway, that's a little bit about who the Rose Room Orchestra was and Tom Gott. So, Connor, what have you up next for us? What record is that? That's
this
of
is
Italian?
breaking format.
Oh, I'm sorry. Get your mic.
This is going to break format a bit, but I think it deserves to be heard.
Oh.
One of my main interest in both music and record collecting is sort of folk and blues material, and this is a record by a songster born in 1874 in Big Sandy in East Texas. And instead of becoming a sharecropper, he learned to play guitar and an instrument called the quills, which was sort of like panpipes. And hoboed around the country on a freight train. In 1927, he hoboed up to Chicago and made some records for Vocalion. And this is one of them. This is his version of the folk classic John Henry with quills.
Okay, so let's give that a spin. That'll be different. was very interesting. And I'm guessing that's a pretty rare record.
Yes. His most common, but still quite rare. They called him Ragtime Texas.
Yeah, so it was mostly a rural audience for that kind of stuff, and that's in pretty good condition for that, because unlike the upper middle class housewives who'd buy the Caruso record to show the neighbors how cultured she was, never play it, but have it there in beautiful condition, people that bought those records enjoyed the records and played them a lot, and the machines weren't conducive for that in those days. So Matt is up next. He's got a Viva Tonal Columbia.
Yeah.
What year?
I think that's a 1930 recording.
Okay, cool. We got good settings for that.
And that is by a blues singer named Maddie Hite, Hite, and she sings here the Texas Twist.
Okay, so let's give that a spin.
Papa, Papa, please make John quit out in the front yard, shaking with a fit, doing the Texas twist. Can't resist. Everybody's raving about the Texas twist. Come in here, your little hard-boiled egg. Better stop whining before you break a leg trying to Texas twist. I insist. You're just going loony about the Texas twist. Said the turtle to the bobtail hare, come on, slowpoke, let's get somewhere. We'll do the Texas twist. They won't hear. We don't have to hurry. Just Texas twist. Grandma's to blame. When they get together, it's a sin and a shame doing the Texas twist. Never miss. Got the old time movement in the Texas twist. Saw two frogs prancing on a slump, and I heard something go bumpity bump. Was the Texas twist. Froggy's bliss, hopping and jumping to the Texas twist. Nice and easy, but do it long. Just spread your butter and you can't go wrong, 'cause it's the Texas twist. Tight like this. Keep on, don't you stop it. Do the Texas twist.
So that was good. That was so I believe it is my turn now. So I want to give a shout out to my very good friend Christian, who's been on a lot of these broadcasts. He's now in St. Genevieve, Missouri. And so he wasn't able to be here at the broadcast. And you know, Christian is famous for his love and admiration for Ted Lewis. So when Christian's here, we always play a Ted Lewis record for Christian. And Leslie actually has some of Christian's records here in Dallas. She's left some records with her, and she actually found a Ted Lewis record among those, and I mentioned that, but she's not able to locate it now. So Christian likes some Ted Lewis, the ones where Ted Lewis isn't doing the vocal. But I always play for Christian the ones Ted Lewis did the vocal. And this one, I was pulling this one out the other day, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, this is one Christian would not like. But I I think it's kind of cool, but Christian would not appreciate this record. So it's called Homemade Sunshine. This is from, I guess, the early...
Oh, I like this one.
I like it. I like Craig Lewis. And this is from the early 30s. It's a picture label, just sort of like Paul Whiteman had a picture label on Columbia. They came up with one, not as pretty and fancy because it was the Depression, but they had one for Ted Lewis, and this is what it is. So this is Ted Lewis with Homemade Sunshine, a record Christian would not enjoy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Dr. Lewis, WFD. You want to know what WFD stands for? World's Famous Dispenser. Dispenser of what, sodas? No. I'm a dispenser of the greatest thing in the world, ladies and gentlemen, sunshine and happiness. Now, 5 years ago, I guess it was 6. No, it was 7, wasn't it, boys?
8.
9 years ago, I made this very wonderful discovery, and it's that discovery that I'm bringing here to you folks tonight. Why, one swallow of this famous remedy of mine is known to brace up, cheer up, perk up, and pep up. And a whole bottle is known to turn a crabby old mother-in-law into a laughing hyena. And to show you folks that I'm on the level, I'm going to tell you the recipe of this famous discovery. Now, to a day that's long, you just add a little song, and what do you get, folks? What do you get? You get my homemade sunshine. And to a weary trial, oh, say, you add a little smile. That's how I make my homemade sunshine. You mix a little hope and laughter with philosophy, and you add just a spice of make-believing to this recipe. Now that's part of the bill of fare that we all must share to get this wonderful discovery of homemade sunshine. And to the moon above, you add just a little love. Oh, fair, that'll give you homemade sunshine. And to a night in June, you just add that wedding tune, and what do you get? Homemade sunshine, Dr. Lewis's famous remedy, folks. And when the wolf is at your door, here's how to chase the blues. Why, you turn that wolf into a stork, and you spread the happy news. And when those neighbors call, why, you just introduce them all. Oh, to that sweet little homemade sunshine. Yes, sir.
So I think Christian has found an ally here in the form of Eric, because Eric, Christian isn't here to tell me why Ted Lewis is awful in his view. So you tell the radio audience what you think. Christian's going to be, if he's listening into this, he's going to really appreciate what you're saying.
Ted Lewis was a fine musician. He really was. Period.
Yeah,
we'll save the lyrics till later.
That's good news, folks.
The news, yes.
Yeah, Christian is not. It's Christian that always says he likes it when the band play. He had a good band. He does not like his vocal. And I don't know. I think there's a certain charm to him.
All right, who's up next?
That was me, so it's now Eric.
Yes.
That was my contribution for Christian.
I mean, in Ted Lewis's defense, one of the first 78s I ever heard was "If I Had $1 Million" by Ted Lewis, and it's not offensive. It's not offensive.
No, I'm
so,
actually a fan, but yeah.
So there's that was because I was very young when I heard it. There wasn't much in the attic at that time, and I really did appreciate it. I thought it was quite good. This one was a little bit anyway.
Of all the things that Christian does not like about Ted Lewis, this one has it all in great intensity.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's a masterpiece. So.
That's why I was listening. I'm like, oh my gosh, Christian would not like this one. So, what have you next?
Well, I came across this recording. It's appears to be a hi-fi recording, which are always interesting. And this is a recording that was recorded in November of 1931 by Peter Van Steeden's orchestra, with a vocal by Dick Robertson. Okay, this is a song that I learned about when I was a kid, and it was one of the first 78s I acquired. And it was recorded by Rudy Valley on the Hit of the Week record, and it was Home. And as it turns out, Peter Van Steeden was the composer of Home. So this is a version of a very popular song, but it's a pretty good one. So here we are.
Here we go. I'm interested in hearing it.
shadows fall and trees whisper day is ending. My thoughts are ever wending home. When crickets call, my heart is forever yearning once more to be returning home. When the hills conceal the setting sun, stars begin a-peeping one by one. Night covers all, and though fortune may forsake me, sweet dreams will ever take me home.
And Eric, when you're taking that off, take a look at that label. See if it looks like it says Fakesing Company by chance.
I think
it does. It does. So that record actually was purchased in Fort Worth. Fakesing Company. You'll find them on 78s here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area Fakes and Company was a furniture company in downtown Fort Worth, and they had a Victor dealership, I think Brunswick. I think they had a dealership for all of the major record labels. So they sold phonographs at the furniture store, and they had a dealership, so they sold all the major record labels there. And it's not uncommon to find a Fakes and Company little sticker on top of it. In fact, the stack I brought along tonight has one in it, and we won't get around to playing it. But
so
anyway,
how is that spelled?
Fakes and Company, and the building in which they were housed is still there. I think it's like lofts now, but yeah, the building in downtown Fort Worth is still there.
Yeah,
so
I asked because half my label's gone. So
yeah, Fakes and Company, but they were a furniture store. So Connor, you're up next. Tell us about the record. Oh my goodness, with the speakers here. Connor, tell us about the record that you've got for us.
Well, this is Victor Young and his orchestra with the Boswell Sisters.
Oh, cool.
From 1931, playing one of my favorite songs of the early 1930s, I Found $1 Million Baby in a 5 and 10 cent store.
Oh, yes. This is good. This is a good one.
Oh, that's a great record.
So I've always liked that song. Always liked the different versions of that. So that's a cool one. So up next is Matt.
Yep.
He's going to bring a Black Decca. No, he's not going to be playing a Black Decca record.
Okay, I've got a recording here. I think it's from about this is around 1928 or 9. I can't remember because this is a reissue disc here, but it's Astoria Strut by Jones and Collins, Astoria Hot 8.
Yeah, and so you got a reissue, like a mid-30s Bluebird reissue here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so here we go. So that was good. So after Matt, it is me. I am going to just go ahead and say this is actually, we're at pretty much at the end of our broadcast. We're at the final hour of our final hour. So we've already, one of Eric's is going to be our closing out theme. So I want to thank Leslie again for being our hostess this year. This is a wonderful location. It's enabled us to bring a cylinder player. We've for the past few years we've hosted it in hotels, but we have to be careful with the volume that we do in the hotels. And these cylinder players play very loud, so we don't want to necessarily attract that attention. So this is a wonderful place, and we had the coolest company. We had Boo Woo and the Stripey Cat. We never did see Boo Woo's sister. She's in deep hiding. So thank you so much, Leslie.
You are welcome. And it was so awesome to see everybody tonight. And just one last time, I want to wish everybody out there Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And then Connor, so I want to thank you for coming. This was your third broadcast. You always bring very interesting records.
Well, thank you again for having me on the show. I really am happy to be here, thrilled to be here. Happy New Year to everyone in the world listening.
Yeah, and they're all over the world. We have listeners in every continent except Antarctica. And maybe we've had somebody in Antarctica for all I know. I've just never seen it on the stats. I don't know if it'd even show there. It'd probably show us some other country where the internet feed comes from. But yeah, we're all over the place. And over here, Matt from College Station, now from Florida. Thank you for coming from Florida.
You're welcome.
And bringing some cool records. So
The hurricane brought them to me.
The big wind.
Yeah.
The big wind. And one final thanks. I want to thank the people that have made all of this possible, and that is the many, many people out there in the radio audience who have contributed to Early 1900s Music Preservation. Early 1900s Music Preservation is the nonprofit organization that now operates Radio Dismuke for the past few years. Keeping all of this going does require it requires time, it requires money, and we have been very fortunate. I am very grateful for all of the support that all of you who have contributed to this have provided. And I'm also really, really thankful for all of you because I have not had to do, since this started and I turned it over to the nonprofit organization, I've not had to do any explicit fundraising drives or anything. I mean, you listen to the station once an hour, there's a very low pitch. If you can afford to help us out, please help us out. We're here. And that's the only fundraising we've done, and I'm so grateful because I don't like asking people for money, and I don't have time to fundraise either. Time is just as difficult on this as money. And the other thing that's so nice is, and one thing we don't have to do is when people contribute to Early 1900s Music Preservation, I mean, you don't hear from us unless you sign up on the radio station to get notification about broadcasts. You get thank you notes when it happens, when you donate, and you get at the end of the year, if you're in the United States, you'll get a tax receipt. But what you don't get is spammed. I've donated to small donations to nonprofit organizations before, and all of a sudden I get bombarded with mail and the email trying to get more money out of me, and they spend more money trying to get more money than I've given them, and I get it. I mean, we don't have payrolls to do. It's all volunteers, so it's not like we have the urgency I guess certain causes do, and some causes are out there are matters of life and death, and they're trying to cure disease, so I can understand why they do aggressive, but we have not had to do that, and I'm so grateful because I don't like getting lots of email and spam asking me for money, so we don't do that. We haven't had to do that, and so I just want to thank all of you for making this possible.
Yeah, everybody has been really, really generous.
Yeah, it's been very touching, and you've made it possible for us to continue. So thank you, all of you, for who've made this possible, and thank you. We've got a donor out there who's given us some really, really wonderful records. So I want to thank that donor for that, and not just on behalf of Early 1900s Music Preservation, but on behalf of all the listeners who are getting to hear some really, really rare stuff that we now have in the station. Very late Edison Diamond Discs, Edison Laterals, including a couple test pressings, one of which, to the best of my knowledge, we have the only copy in the world, and you hear that in the Radio Dismuke playlist. So all of that's been made possible by donations, so thank you very much. Now, closing out this broadcast, we have a record. We always try to pick a closing theme, and so Eric has a acoustic Brunswick.
Yes.
Setting it on and we need to get it on 80 RPM because they did go at 80. Okay. So, Eric, tell us about your closing record.
Well, this is our final record this evening. We'll be with the Isham Jones Orchestra from January 1923. It's the Farewell Blues, and I'd like to say that it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
I hope the listeners enjoy this program as much as we do producing it.
Yeah, it's always fun to do it. It's a blast every time, and so until our next program, we'll just let the song go farewell. We won't be blue though. It's not one of those blues songs that's not blue, right?
No, it's not.
It's anything but blues. So
absolutely, and best of wishes for 2019.
Yes, Happy New Year, everybody.